Okay, so something fishy is going on with this particular YouTube channel, as we just lost a couple hundred YouTube subscribers again, and this has been sporadically happening within the last few months. We are seeing a decrease in the number of people who are subscribed, a lot of people unsubscribing, and a lot of people messaging me saying that they never did unsubscribe, but somehow when they go back to our channel, it's done for them. Also, around this time, we usually have the most amount of views for the year, and we're having record low views. Now, this could be from a number of circumstances. It could be because we suck, we're old, or it could be because of censorship. Of course, personally, creators don't like to believe that they're kind of outdated or they suck, but I would really love to have your input on this. What do you think we could be doing better? What do you think is happening? How did you hear about this video? And most importantly, I would love to know what makes you guys share a particular video, because essentially we're here for you, the viewership, and having a little bit of feedback would mean a lot to us, especially during this difficult time where all the numbers just seem to be dropping. Now, I know Steven Crowder has even talked about this from his own perspective, his kind of right-wing perspective of kind of the shadow, soft censorship that's happening underneath the scenes. I mean, that's also one big major possibility here, as of course we've been not with the best relations with YouTube, being one of the first channels demonetized, confronting Eric Schmidt, and I keep going on and on and on about our tumultuous relationship that we have with YouTube. But or maybe it's because like my yellow vest Bitcoin sign is not on straight, and it, like, is that it, guys? What is it? Damn it! Hold on. Or is the background too distracting? It is pretty distracting though. Damn it! Or is it this? This seems to bother people too. Is it this? What is it?
Some people say the audio sucks. Maybe we could get really closer to the Well, look at that butt nose. I would get closer to the microphone and talk to you this way to have, like the SS Marai, what is it? No. The better audio. Should I talk this like this to you guys to have good audio?
Sound like Kermit the Frog. Or maybe it's like YouTube manipulating the viewer count, which could be possible. They manipulate everything else. Why wouldn't they manipulate the view count? Or maybe it's because we're never a part of a tribe. Like we're not a part of the libtard gang or the conservative gang. And if we were, we'd create more drama and more fights, and it would be one-sided, and people would be like, "Yeah, go fight that geriatrics World War II German supporting grandma, yeah!" Or yeah, go against that cringy boomer Saudi Arabia Israel first bootlicking statist. Yeah, go, yeah. Yeah, that would get me a lot of views, but I would have to sell a part of my soul to do that, which I actually know a lot of people who do in this business. They know they're pandering, lying, and manipulating and just showing one side of the story, and it kind of eats them inside that they know that they're doing something wrong and not show. And then it's something that I just can't do. Or maybe I should just shut up, continue to do what I love to do, and research and look into stuff that I want to legitimately look into, and just share it with you guys, which I've been doing anyway. And maybe I just shouldn't care about the number of viewership that I get, because I'm conducting a labor of love that's fulfilling my soul and helping me grow as a human being on this planet. Nah, goddamn, give me those views and share this video right now. I'm being facetious. Just let me know what you guys think. This was kind of my train of consciousness that I wanted to share before beginning today's video. And just jumping right into today's video. So yeah, let's talk about the mainstream media that brainwashes us for the benefit of the few very powerful special interests that control them. And let's talk about the technocratic state that is being established all around us, surrounding us with the surveillance grid system that also is connected to those same special powerful interests. With, of course, news from our favorite cyborg, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, which would, of course, help from the special intelligence agencies. But Mark Zuckerberg is in the news because there is leaked audio coming from an internal Facebook meeting that has him trashing Elizabeth Warren, a Democratic presidential candidate that has warned us about the technocracy. He also trashed Twitter and said that he is gearing up with the battle against the government. You could actually listen to the leaked audio here. We will provide a link in the description below so you could see it yourself, hear it yourself. But this audio definitely does shape a very honest kind of picture at what is happening internally inside of Facebook. Specifically, the criticism against Elizabeth Warren, who, by the way, has been calling for major tech companies to be broken up because they are monopolies, and has called for more regulations around companies like Facebook, with Zuckerberg saying very confidently, if Elizabeth Warren wins the presidential election, saying, quote, then I would bet that we will have a legal challenge, and I would bet that we will win the legal challenge. Going on and saying, and does that still suck for us? Yeah, I mean, continuing on, but look, at the end of the day, if someone's going to try to threaten something that's existential, you go to the mat and you fight. Yes, wow, very, very kind of pointed and direct comments against one of the few presidential hopefuls for 2020 that has actually dared to speak out against the big technocratic companies. When specifically talking about Facebook's content moderators who are reported to be engaging in sex and drugs to cope with the PTSD horrors of moderating Facebook and other graphic content, Mark Zuckerberg essentially said, quote, there are really bad things that people have to deal with. Gee, yeah, oh my gosh. Another presidential hopeful that has raised the issue of technocratic monopolies running our lives, if they don't already, is of course Andrew Yang, who is now proposing that your digital data should be considered your personal property. An idea which I actually resonate with, which I think makes absolutely logical sense, since, of course, big data now is more valuable than oil and energy on the world market. And its abuse is leading to very horrendous consequences for our society. And personally, everything else Elizabeth Warren and Andrew Yang saying pretty much I unequivocally disagree with. But these are actually some good points that I think are worth considering and, of course, talking about, having a conversation about, which most likely gets censored on social media. It's also important to be aware of U.S. intelligence companies that are using the data from, of course, these big technocratic monopolies. They work hand in hand in a very cohesive relationship. And this is why Edward Snowden recently talked about how private contractors who work with U.S. intelligence companies are creating the creeping authoritarianism that we have to deal with in our society. And with the government, especially U.S. intelligence agencies, hiring private contractors, they can work outside of the law without any accountability, any Freedom of Information Act requests, particularly just doing whatever the hell they want since they're a private company. All of this enabled by, of course, the government that, of course, gives these companies special treatment, special favors, tax breaks, even sometimes money. Just directly saying, hey, we're just going to give you a whole bunch of tax dollars to run your business. Meanwhile, your average Joe Schmo, specifically also in New York City, when he tries to start a business, is hammered and destroyed with regulation. So don't get it twisted, which you might, watching just the beginning of this video. Government still here, in my opinion, is the ultimate creator of these bad situations that I am talking about. And talking about bad situations just becoming more bad. We're not going to show the full footage here, of course, but really troubling footage coming from Hong Kong showing a police officer point blank shooting a protester right in the chest. Protester that was a high school student that is in critical condition at the hospital right now and is still unknown whether he will or will not survive. And telling you from my own personal experiences, from being in Hong Kong, seeing the outrage just from one particular woman getting her eye shot out with a rubber bullet, this was a major issues that just spread the anger of the protests to a very critical level. If this high school student passes away, you could definitely expect Hong Kong to erupt again in just utter calamity and utter chaos, which already it is. And of course, this is galvanizing news and attention from all around the world. And of course, there's many different video angles showing the exact moment that this happened. You can see the protesters swinging what looks like a metal rod at the arm of the police officer. The police officer was grazed by this baton, which mainly missed his arm, and then he fires off the shot during, of course, fights and clashes that were happening between protesters on the front lines versus the police officers. Afterwards, a Molotov cocktail is thrown at those same police officers. And it does need to be mentioned here that honestly, if these types of clashes were happening in the United States, I would even dare to say that the very trigger-happy police officers in the United States most likely would create a worse situation than the one we're seeing in Hong Kong, and that does need to be mentioned here. Not trying to condone any of the violence, not trying to take away anything from it, but it does deserve some important context, since, of course, the violence here does go, of course, both ways. Now, the United Kingdom, of course, officially responded diplomatically with its foreign secretary with an official statement saying that the use of force by police officers was disproportionate, and I would have to definitely agree with him. This will definitely only inflame the situation, which is unnecessary. And as all of this was happening, the Chinese military, with their latest technological weaponry, was on display in the Beijing streets during China's 70th anniversary of the Communist Party, with the Chinese president issuing a statement saying, quote, "No force can shake us." Very strong words during, of course, very patriotic displays of support for China. That was absolutely just really wild to watch. We were actually watching it live on DLive, one of our live streaming platforms, yesterday. Definitely would recommend subscribing to that as an alternative, where we have longer formatted conversations and interactions with you. The link to that will also be in the description below. And even when the world's eyes are on Hong Kong, we have to understand there's a lot of other protests, there's a lot of other civil unrest that's not being talked about. Specifically, the Yellow Vest movement, which is coming close to its 1-year anniversary, which of course I will be covering on the ground. And of course also the latest kind of revolutionary actions that are happening in Haiti that wants to overthrow the regime there that has been backed by, of course, U.S. interests, which of course I am also keeping a close eye on. But there has been a lot of civil unrest in Haiti, a lot of property destruction and anger at the current regime for, guess what? Corruption. So yeah, there's also a lot of demonstrations happening in that country, while here we bicker about impeachment over this, honestly, the stupidest issue. They're going after Trump for trying to dig and look into the corruption of someone clearly corrupt, someone clearly who's a career politician, who has connections, who, and again, they're trying to get Donald Trump for looking into the criminality of another corrupt politician. Now Donald Trump, there's a lot of negative things you could say about him. There's a lot of things you could criticize him on. There's a lot of things you could accuse him of. But this whole impeachment thing is, in my opinion, just an absolute farce, a huge waste of time. Donald Trump is, of course, demanding to know the identity of the CIA agent that is accusing him of abusing power. Donald Trump is firing back, saying that there's been false information about him, that he's entitled to some kind of interview with him. And again, this is just back and forth shenanigans, in my opinion. Again, prove me wrong in the comment section below if you think I'm wrong. I'm definitely no supporter of Donald Trump, but I do believe that regardless of your opinion of an individual, that you should always give him a fair shake, that you should always give him a fair trial, that you should always give someone the benefit of the doubt, especially when you have not trustworthy organizations like the CIA behind these latest calls for impeachment. Interestingly enough, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is deciding that he will not comply with what he is calling intimidating communications during, of course, the Democratic impeachment probe, calling for him to comply with the Democrats' investigation against Donald Trump and their congressional inquiries, which Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is just saying, no. Which honestly just demonstrates the tiresome political situation unfolding in our landscape where literally the crazy people are running the insane asylum. That's pretty much what's happening right now. Prove me wrong. Thank you so much for watching up until this long, staying with me. I deep down appreciate it very, very much, because without you, I wouldn't be here. Without you guys sharing, viewing, watching all the way up until the end, I wouldn't be here. And I'm only here because of you, and that's why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.